The arrogant noble who just boasted about conquering the dungeon is now battered and crying, stammering in terror as his ambitions crumble. A massive, fiery demonic hound crushes the noble's head in its jaws, killing him in a spray of blood as he screams. Chaos erupts in the plaza as a pack of terrifying beasts charges from a dark portal. The remaining students sprint for their lives, yelling for everyone to run. Among the fleeing crowd, Grenouille sprints frantically, terrified by the slaughter unfolding behind him. Staring back in shock, his face pales as he witnesses the grim reality of the tower's trial. A system interface appears, officially identifying the blood-soaked monsters as hellhounds. The detailed prompt classifies them as B+ rank entities that bring unavoidable catastrophe, noting that the sulfurous hellfire burning from their eyes and mouths will never extinguish until their prey is completely consumed. Hovering above the carnage, the grotesque floor guide, Barghest, cheerfully confirms the trial's cruel parameters. Survive for 108 minutes against 108 hellhounds. Barghest mockingly muses that with over 100 participants, they should endure for a while. Below, hellhounds relentlessly chase the desperate students down the courtyard stairs. Grenouille flees down a dark corridor, realizing fighting back is impossible since the tower's curse has reduced their physical stats to a fraction of their normal strength. Spotting an open door to a dark room, Grenouille decides his best chance is to hide inside and remain silent. He slips inside and forcefully slides the heavy door shut behind him. However, his brief moment of relief is shattered when he feels resistance against the door. Two panicked students push against the door, begging Grenouille to let them in and claiming to be his friends. Sweating and conflicted, Grenouille grips the door, torn between self-preservation and helping his classmates. He reasons that surviving as a group might be easier than hiding alone. The two students shove the door open, knocking Grenouille to the ground as they barge into his hiding spot and demand he stay quiet. Grenouille falls onto his back, bewildered and angry, questioning what they are doing. The door slams shut, trapping Grenouille in the corridor. From inside, a student coldly states that Grenouille never considered them friends, only disposable subordinates to exploit. With malicious smiles, the treacherous classmates declare it is their turn to use him, ordering him to serve as bait for the monsters. Panicked, Grenouille pounds on the door, calling their betrayal nonsense. They coldly promise to let him back in only after the hallway is quiet. Scrambling backward, Grenouille looks down the hall in terror as a fiery hellhound spots him in the darkness. The hellhound roars, raising its claws, its massive jaws open, dripping with sulfurous flames as it prepares to strike. Defenseless and abandoned, Grenouille sits paralyzed on the floor, watching the beast close in. Overwhelmed by despair, tears stream down his face. He squeezes his eyes shut, trembling as he braces for the agony of being devoured. After a moment, he slowly opens his tear-filled eyes, confused as to why the fatal bite never came. Standing protectively before him is Vikir, blade drawn and eyes glowing red in the shadows. Grenouille calls out his name in utter disbelief. Grenouille stares in awe as Vikir stands over the hellhound's decapitated corpse. Still on the floor, he stammers, asking if Vikir was also dragged into the trial. Grenouille is shocked that Vikir single-handedly slaughtered a hellhound, wondering how an archer could wield a blade so skillfully. He breaks into a sweat staring at the red aura blade extending from Vikir's hand, recognizing the dangerously familiar fighting style. Vikir calmly calls out to his classmate. Still deeply shaken, Grenouille timidly responds. With a menacing red eye, Vikir coldly informs Grenouille he has a specific role for him. Grenouille gulps, looking tense and fearful as he awaits Vikir's demand. A moment later, Grenouille steps into the corridor, revealing his ridiculous new role. He is wearing makeshift armor, a cooking pot helmet, a pot lid shield, and dual-wielding a ladle and spatula. Internally cursing, Grenouille looks humiliated and furious, wondering why he ever agreed to this. A flashback reveals their negotiation. Grenouille stares at Vikir in outrage, asking if he seriously expects him to act as bait. Grenouille fiercely refuses, declaring that just because Vikir saved him does not mean he will agree to something so suicidal. Unfazed, Vikir calmly drops the name Sinclair. Knowing Grenouille's secret crush, Vikir promises to create an opportunity for him to get closer to her if he helps. Grenouille blushes, his tough facade breaking as he eagerly asks if Vikir is serious. Vikir leans in and whispers it is a lie, and Grenouille realizes he has been played. Despite the bluff, Grenouille gets flustered and backs away, defensively claiming a noble like him could never be interested in a commoner. Desperate to save face, a blushing Grenouille agrees to the plan, framing it as a one-time favor since Vikir saved his life. Returning to the present, Grenouille grits his teeth, realizing he must have been crazy. However, he resolves to go through with it for Sinclair. Throwing himself into the role, Granuil bangs his ladle against his pot helmet and shield, creating a massive clang. He yells insults at the beasts, declaring the great Granuil will take them on. He challenges the monsters, and the distraction works perfectly. Two massive hellhounds emerge from the shadows, their jaws dripping with sulphurous fire. The moment he sees the horrific beasts, Granuil's false bravado shatters. His bold challenge turns into a pathetic, tearful whimper of terror. Granuil's bravery vanishes as an entire pack of fiery hellhounds charges down the corridor toward him. Granuil spins around and sprints for his life, screaming in panic as the flaming beasts snap at his heels. Granuil desperately throws himself to the ground, sliding out of the way as the monsters lunge. Driven by momentum, the entire pack of hellhounds rushes blindly past Granuil, continuing down the hall without noticing him. The doors close, trapping the hounds. Vikir steps out, red aura blade drawn, and explains that hellhounds only run straight when pursuing their prey. He notes their fatal weakness: they cannot easily stop or change direction. Smiling chillingly, red eyes glowing, Vikir readies his blade. Remarking this reminds him of his childhood, he mockingly welcomes the beasts to a reunion. A brutal massacre ensues. The hounds' agonizing whimpers echo as thick splatters of blood coat the large glass windows of the corridor. Sometime later, Granuil catches his breath and calls out Vikir's name. Clutching his ladle, Granuil is confused by the silence. He assumes the worst, wondering if Vikir was killed by the monsters. He cracked open the door, complaining that Vikir should have at least fulfilled his purpose as bait before dying. Granuil's eyes widen in absolute shock at the sight before him. Inside the chandelier-lit hall, Vikir stands unharmed but drenched in blood, holding a sack of items. Scattered around his feet are the corpses of the entire hellhound pack. Still gripping his utensils, Granuil demands to know if Vikir killed all the monsters himself, asking if he set traps. Glancing over his shoulder, Vikir calmly asks what traps he is talking about. Vikir holds out a heavy sack filled with glowing stat-boosting orbs from the monsters. He casually remarks that agility points are usually the hardest to collect. A system window displays Vikir's high base stats, all around 200, despite being level 1. Vikir is disappointed, wondering why his hidden attributes have not unlocked despite his performance. Vikir concludes he needs a higher difficulty task to unlock them. Nearby, Granuil watches Vikir's unnerving calm, questioning if this ruthless fighter is truly the quiet archer he knew. Up above, the grotesque floor guide Barghest stares down in shock, stuttering in disbelief at the massacre. Barghest floats down from a purple rift, amazed they wiped out the entire hellhound pack, noting their strength is irregular for this stage. Noting the timer still has over an hour left, an angry Granuil confronts the guide, demanding why the trial has not ended and ordering it to take them to the next floor. Barghest's shock turns into a malicious grin. The guide admits it misjudged their strength but explains the tower must adjust the balance to ensure a proper challenge. Cheerfully, the grotesque fairy snaps its claws, initiating a sudden, deadly difficulty spike. A swirling vortex of dark energy erupts before Vikir and Granuil. Barghest cheerfully announces they now have to deal with a new, little guy. From the portal emerges a colossal beast with 3 demonic heads and glowing eyes, introduced as the guardian dog of hell. The massive, 3-headed monster roars as Barghest cheerfully clarifies its true identity: Cerberus. The system details the new threat: Cerberus, an A+ rank monster, 7 meters tall. It is the supreme beast of the underworld, existing solely to tear apart any soul that attempts to escape hell.